Board games. I might be talking about board games at Tabletop Scotland, but I'm not gonna shout. I am starting off this streaming with a little bit of singing, and I guess I'm going to try to recap stuff that's happened over the weekend. I'll just do a week recap. Board games, Tabletop Scotland, it's what I'm talking about. Board games and Tabletop Scotland, I'm not gonna shout. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever it is, wherever you are. It's 10 a.m. UK time. Time for Busy Beats and Board Game Leather. I am aware that the last couple of days it's been super quick shows, and today's not going to be the longest one ever. Because I'm still in Perth. Still in grey with a beautiful white sky as I look through the window, a wee bit chilly, and maybe a wee bit drizzly as well. Currently, it's not raining down, it's not pouring down, but it might do. Anything could happen in not so sunny Perth. But of course, over the weekend, I was at Tabletop Scotland, and I'm going to give you my top 9 things, or honestly, it's just scrolling down at the bottom. I've got no sense of keeping secrets. So yeah, fundamentally, what was Tabletop Scotland all about? Did I have fun? Would I go again? And yeah, I guess I might as well. I could talk about the recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights, recent highlights, playing games and other delights, recent highlights. I'm going to say that even after Tabletop Scotland, the fun kept going. We went to an Indian restaurant. We had a lovely meal, myself and Jane and Kat, and chatted and talked and ate, and I ate way too much. I could have probably forced myself to eat dessert, but I had eaten enough. I'd eaten to the point where my waistline was literally uncomfortable. It was like, yeah, I should stop eating now. I had all the curries. Honestly, they were good. They were good, and I enjoyed the variety, but it wasn't like, none of them were like, oh, this is so darn amazing. And anyway, it was a lovely chat. But enough of that. Let's talk about Tabletop Scotland, which is a brilliant thing. What's a little thing, which is brilliant. So I'm going to say that my brilliant thing for today is going to be placemats. This is a very fancy placemat in the place where I am staying. One side is kind of metal, one side's black, and that's an awfully fancy placemat, right? I mean, I am personally a bigger fan of placemats which are like, I mean, I get that this maybe stops the heat going down potentially, but if you drop something like that's still going to fall onto the table, and that's annoying to wash. I like things that are just flat and basic, and they smooth and easy to wash off or to rinse off or whatever. Get a placemat. You don't have to wash the whole table. You pop it over. Placemats are brilliant. They protect the table from heat. They mean that you're able to do a little bit less cleaning up afterwards, and they give a little kind of area. They contain the mess. They contain, like a coaster contains the moisture for the drink. Anyway, if you've got any questions, then feel free to ask. As always, feel free to comment, feel free to ask questions. That's why I do these streams. Now, let's get to those brilliant things that I mentioned. I would like to maybe even share a few photos from the weekend with you. So, this is the Sunday 2 p.m. event, and Arya in the middle was the winner. I feel like the Sunday 2 p.m. event just went fantastically. The Sunday 2 p.m. event, we had, I want to say, 12 people gathered together, which is a great number. So we had 2 tables of 6, and then people playing a couple of times. And then after that, people who'd done the best went to one table, people who'd done not so well went to the other table. And 5 people from one table were going to go to the semi-finals, and one person from the not so good table was going to be the rogue. So it was like you get one last chance to be on the semi-finals, and then semi-finals, everyone progressed. They'd been playing a game about quickly grabbing creatures that are totally different and counting your turnips and beetroots, combining the 2 decks. And then for the semi-finals, we went together, we mashed up the Radish editions, the Radish color, the Radish black and white. Said, okay, now you're playing on hard mode. These creatures, this is a plush toy. And then it went to the final. And on the final, these are the finalists from left to right. That's myself. And then we've got Johan, Arya, and Davron. Lovely people, and all of them excited for the final, playing with not only the more confusing art, but also more confusing art that had been colored in by everyone over the course of the event. So congratulations to Arya, who managed to win that. Fantastic work. And these are some of the images from the coloring in. It's just fantastic. This was such a delight. I was concerned that we might not get it all colored in. I thought, okay, hopefully by middle of Sunday, we will have it all colored in. But then instead, by the end of Saturday, I think we had 4 things that were left uncolored. No. Yeah, like I ended up coloring in 2 myself, and Kat had to color in 1. I'm not sure that Jane colored in anything. And so I was fully prepared to say, okay, by the end of Saturday, we want to have at least, I don't know, 2/3 of this colored in. If we don't have it, then I will work out roughly what number I have to color in to make it work. And I didn't really have to do that, which was a delight to see. People were just super excited about coloring in. Of course, the 2 p.m. event on Saturday, this was good fun as well. Again, about selecting 7 cards, speedily searching for synergies. It wasn't quite as well populated with 5 people. I don't know if that's because, was it because people were super excited about the new deck? Was it because on Saturday there's more to do, and Sunday people are like, okay, now we'll go to Bez's 2 p.m. event? Was it because Daryl on the left, who won, was coming back, and there were similarly, there was a bit of a buzz. People are like, oh, there's a 2 p.m. event. Oh, yes, I really need to get there tomorrow. And every day it's something completely different. That's what's going to happen. But yeah, it was a joy to play with these people. And even though I wasn't able to test out the big 12-player game or anything more than 6 players like I'd kind of hoped to do, I wanted there to be a little weird thing. But yeah, didn't get a chance to do that. But it was still a lovely thing, and enjoyed everyone seeing it and seeing people delighted by the game. And hopefully everyone will continue to enjoy it for a while to come. What else? Yep, everyone starts with the hands on the heads, and here are some of the example cards for that. Let's talk about chocolate. Oh my gosh. Sharing chocolate. That's the thing. So Saturday, as I said, we had people coloring in the deck that went really well. It was basically all finished. The 2 p.m. event went okay. I had a decent turnout. People enjoyed it. I ran it. And if Sundays had been similar, I would have been a bit disappointed, but it was okay. But then in the night, it was like, okay, now we'll go upstairs. And on our way to get some meal, we met passed by John Dodd and was like, hey, shall we go up get some food together? We all ate something, had a drink, decided to join, form a, what's the word I'm looking for? Pub quiz team. I think Kat had to head off at that point. So it was the four of us, myself, Jane, John, Ian, and two newcomers to our group. And we did decently. I think we ended up scoring, we were basically about 5.5 points off the leader. So it wasn't like we were way worse. We did okay. I mean, we definitely didn't win. We weren't even in the top 3 or 4, but we held our own. And yeah, my favourite part of the pub quiz was the round where it was true or false. Is this a real expansion? True or false? Is this a real expansion? Is this a real expansion? And then at the end, when revealing the answer, so the answer was they're all true. They're all off Board Game Geek. And you got us. If only I'd seen that coming, then we might have won the whole thing. But who knows? Yeah, that was it. From a financial point of view, and hello, Faranak. It is lovely to see you. I'm just going through Tabletop Scotland. From a financial point of view, obviously the sales and demos are the key thing. The sales and demos, showing my games to other people, that's the most emotionally satisfying thing. And when people buy it, then yeah, not only does it mean that I'm able to justify having more people to demo stuff, and I'm able to justify coming to Tabletop Scotland again, but also it is massively emotionally satisfying to say, yeah, people actually want to buy this thing for however much. Like this thing, these are a fiver, this is 750, this is 850, and these were a tenner. Like I appreciated how much people fell in love with stuff. And the 750 versus £5, I'm not sure how big a difference that made. It was very much at the point of, well, it's a game, it's still cheap, it's still not a high price. And I hope to continue bringing stuff and making them financially accessible. And I'm really proud of what my Kickstarter's done with the, hey, if you aren't able to back for the full price, then please go ahead and back. Rather than paying £8 within the UK, you only have to pay £2. Or rather than paying £10 outside of the UK, you only have to pay £4. And yeah, I'm going to be losing some of that money. Some of that subsidy comes from me, some of it comes from other generous people who, as one of the pledge levels say, I'm going to sponsor a copy of the game for someone else. And that's a really lovely thing that people at a convention probably can afford, 5, 7, whatever, £10, as long as it's not like a £40 game. But like, even when I do eventually one day make a £40 game, I want to talk with that publisher that, yes, if you go to Kickstarter, I want there to be a small number of copies that are set aside as subsidized copies, because financial accessibility is important. Anyway, so yeah, sales and demos from an emotional and financial perspective. Jane and Kat were just amazing, and I don't know if they're going to be watching this. It might be weird for them if they ever do, but Jane, Kat, so much enthusiasm. I did actually work them a lot harder than I thought I would have to. I was hoping to have them at the stand maybe half the time each, and generally have around 2 people at the stand. But then at the end, we were like, yeah, you know what? Even with three of us, we were sometimes missing folk, and we really need at least three. Generally, there's okay, you can wander away, and there's two, which is kind of okay, but yeah, they just put so much energy, so much enthusiasm, learned the game so well. You know, we're so good with the children, so good with the adults, and so yeah, Jane and Kat were definitely one of my highlights. As I said, the Sunday 2 p.m. event was just fantastic. So the Sunday 2 p.m. event, if I go back to there, and it was just a fantastic building up. And I think that because there's different difficulty levels to the game, you start off with a game about quickly grabbing creatures that are totally different and counting your turnips and beetroots. And everyone can play that. And then you play a couple of times, so hopefully everyone's now actually scored, because if you mess up, you don't score at all. It's a harsh game. Hello, Josie, lovely to see you. And obviously you were missed, but yeah, the 2 p.m. event was probably the best 2 p.m. event I've ever done. And I'm going to repeat that. I know there's a bit of joy in changing it up every time, but I think that with this, I found something that works really well, and I'm going to keep doing it at every single convention until October next year. So we had Saturday, everyone coloured in the things. Then Sunday, round 1 and 2, as I said, easy mode. Round 3, still on easy mode, just swapping the tables. Round 4, hard mode, a game about quickly grabbing creatures that are totally different and counting your radishes, still the normal rules. And then this was the semi-finals on one table, the top 6 people. And then after that, the top 6 people said, okay, these are the top 3 people. I think with the radishes, we actually played it twice. So that was rounds 2 on a table, 1 to establish the semi-finalists, then 2 to go from semi-finals to finals, and then the finals was only 1 round. And the finals was with the custom-made, and let me show it again, the custom-made coloured-in version with extra confusion, and I'm almost going to encourage people to just add in extra little details, but maybe not let them use black for future conventions, because if you actually use black to add bits, that's just too mean. So don't make it actually add arms or whatever, just, with colours you could, although if you added arms with colours, then you've got to kind of just pay attention to the lines and totally ignore the colours, which is really interesting. Anyway, I'm going to encourage people to make it even trickier. So yeah, the finals, this is just going to be 1 round, and then anyone who wants to play it afterwards can have a go. I'm really happy with how it went. Someone did come in during it and ask if they could jump in, and I had to explain, no, you can't. This is a special 2 p.m. event. It is a tournament, but once the tournament ends, you can jump in, and I'll do you a demo. And so they did hang around for another 10 minutes to watch the end. But yeah, Josie says, wow, the best ever, that's a high bar. It looked like there was some great colouring in. Yes, absolutely. And I did slightly miss what I did at UK Games Expo, because at UK Games Expo I had the 2 players with a lot of decks, and then for the finals it was, okay, you can play, we're mixing 2 decks together, and we've got enough vegetables that you can grab 10 vegetables each. And I do like the extra dynamic that brings about, but I think that I don't need to do that. I think that doing that would kind of probably, you can only have so many rounds. I can't assume that people know the game, and the game mutates enough with people just, playing the different variations under the correct rules. Oh yeah, and the second round, I forgot to say, one hand on top of head. Thank you, Stream Elements. I will listen to you. So yes, it was a fantastic convention. Anyway, please, if you've got any questions, because I am totally not going to keep to any sort of script or schedule. So sales and demos was great. Jane and Kat were amazing. Sunday 2 p.m. already established. Fantastic. The custom deck enabled this to happen. Sharing chocolates. Oh my gosh, sharing chocolates. So I had, for my birthday, I bought basically all the on bars. I bought literally all the on bars. I'm not exaggerating. It was like not literally all the on bars that exist in the world. I don't have the money for that. I don't have the wealth. I don't but and I wouldn't want to deprive other people of chocolate. But I did buy at least one of every type. And there was, I want to say, at least one that I finished. Josie says, I saw your chocolate collection. And I saved a tiny bit to share with Jane, and Kat had like a teeny bit of like two of them, and John Dodd had bits of some, and Ian had bits of some. And so and the other Ian also joined in. And yeah, we worked up from the relatively milk chocolate, by which I mean 55%, and then going up to 100%. So going up through the different flavors, the almonds, pistachio, raspberry, vanilla coconut. So our highest ranked, if you care, we decided that the best ones are, according to me and Jane, it is blueberry and coconut nibs. According to me and Jane and Ian, it is blueberry, coconut nibs, and coconuts and vanilla. Those are the ones that had more than basic. Yeah, those are the best ones. If you want, Farnak, thank you very much for the random compliment. Who says, I love your hair. Today I'm in the mood of having long hair. You are the second person with long curly hair I saw today, and I'm so jealous. Don't be jealous. I mean, do what you want. I mean, in a warm climate, presumably your neck would start sweating. I'm not going to lie. I will probably put it up later just to clear my neck and make it a bit less. I like Cocoa Nibs chocolates. Yeah. You know what? I've still got a tiny bit of chocolate to finish. Like, when I say tiny bits, I mean literally about 6 squares. And it is probably going to be gone by the next time we meet. But yes, I recommend, if you see it in the shops, on bar, salt and coconut nibs. Cocoa nibs, sorry, not coconut nibs. Don't know what that even is. Anyway, so we're going in approximate order. Saturday 2 p.m. events, as I said, that was good. It wasn't as well attended. It wasn't as frantic. It was the first time that I ran it. I didn't have a clear idea for the twist. The twist ended up being, okay, we have 12 cards on the table and you go up to 10. So it's a game about taking 10 cards, totally trying to see. Well, what? Anyway, so the twist wasn't as amazing, but people did have fun with it. And my final highlight is Yogi, particularly this game of Yogi, where people just got really into it, got really enthusiastic. The person in the black top with a sleeve tattoo on their arm and short hair had some incredibly difficult things to do, and everyone was just laughing and laughing away. It was so much fun to see. And yeah, the whole thing was a lot of fun, an absolute delight. And so, yeah, Tabletop Scotland. Did I enjoy it? Yeah. It was. Josie says, I love Yogi. It looks so fun, says Farnak. Thank you very much. I like to think it is. I sold out of Yogi and Yogi Guru. I only took 5 copies of each, which maybe wasn't enough, but I did have to take public transport, and they are big games, so I could only take so much. It made more sense to take more of my smaller games. My achievements, if I want to think about my achievements during Tabletop Scotland, was I'm going to credit myself with my biggest achievement, frankly, is having asked Jane and Kat, and especially asked one of them repeatedly, "Hey, would you help me?" And yeah, of course, people can order directly from me too. So, I after it went, I don't think there was ever a time when someone said, "Oh, can I buy it?" And then there were a couple of really badly dented tins that I said, "Yeah, this is a dented tin. I'll sell it to you for £9." Like, yeah, absolutely. And um, with my major achievements, I'm going to say having Jane and Kat there, having amazing people, um, you know, getting out a game about selecting 7 cards, speedily searching for synergies, having that out there. Yeah, managing to be there, frankly, was an achievement. That was an achievement itself. Managing to pack and get through the public transport and everything, it was a struggle, I'm not going to lie. And so I feel good about that. Um, Having been able to think of a quick twist, it wasn't the most exciting twist. It was just you go up to 10 cards and it still works. Yeah, it still works. It maybe probably, I mean, honestly, why did I choose 7 cards? Because that felt like a reasonable number. And 10 cards, you can't do it with a lot of people, so that's why it would be the finals when you've got like 3 people playing. Yeah, you go up to 10 cards. And I don't know, like maybe 10 could work, maybe 8 could work. Honestly, it's kind of fairly arbitrary. I think 7's a good number. But yeah, like I think that other achievements, um doing some good demos. I think that when I demonstrate games, I continue to do a good job. Lessons. My lessons are going to be firstly that I probably could have taken just a tiny bit less of the Bezzy bargain bags. I was expecting people to buy more Bezzy bargain bags than the boxes. And I think that, yeah, I want to say 10, 10, 10, 10. I think I took 40 of a game about quickly grabbing creatures that are totally different and counting your whatever. Obviously, that doesn't include demo copies. And I took 20 of each of the bargain bags that I still had, which was basically all I had. In my game about stuffing balloons as a team without talking about it's a card game, there are no actual balloons, and a game about drawing creatures, complementing the drawings and complementing the complements. And interestingly, um, yeah, those ones, it's not as if we were demoing any of them. None of them were being actively demoed. We were focusing in on the new stuff. We were focusing on a game about selecting 7 cards, speedily searching for synergies, a game about quickly matching words to pictures, but never words to words or pictures to pictures, and a game about counting cats, shapes, and colors that keeps getting trickier. And it was fantastic watching this. The truth is, I offered a couple of people a discount, literally 2 people, towards the end, if they sat down for a quick play and had a play test and gave me feedback. And in retrospect, I didn't get any. I got some interesting chat, but the real benefit for me was just in watching it being played. The real benefit for me is in seeing people get confused with the graphics, seeing people how they deal with it, seeing, oh, that feels actually slightly easier than I thought it would be, or that, oh, that could be slightly different. And just in watching it being played, that gives me almost more ideas, and that's got more value for me than in watching it be. I'd rather watch a 5 minute game being played twice than have it be played and then have 5 minutes of discussion. That's sometimes there's something good in that discussion, but typically for me, the main value is as a designer, I'm able to read body language. I not perfectly, but I'm a, able to say, yeah, like what was the most confusing parts for you? And people struggle with that question. And okay, what was your favorite bits about it? What didn't you like? What would you like to change? Was there anything that seemed slightly unbalanced? Like balancing is never a thing that someone should be trusted with tweaking on their first or second or third play. Balancing is something that you want to really think through the maths of, or but the emotional satisfaction of something. Now that's interesting. Now if I ask, hey, how do you feel about this one card? That's objectively terrible. This one card gives you no points and it forces you to sacrifice things. It literally does nothing. You literally never want this card. And then someone said, "Oh, I quite like that. It's kind of funny, given that it's called so-called progress." Um, and yeah, talking about the number of cards that you take, yeah, 7 is better for alliteration with speed and synergy, but the alliteration came after the mechanisms, believe it or not. Um, yeah, but yeah, I think that 10 or 9 would probably be harder to have alliteration for. um, yeah, my lessons are that, anyway, getting back to the lesson, firstly, people aren't as price conscious as I keep thinking. That in my Kickstarter, let's look at that as an example. If I stop the screen and through and hide that information. Wow, I've now got 176 backers. That is super exciting. Particularly 173 is the number of backers that I had for my first ever Kickstarter. So whenever I get more than 173, it's like, yay, I beat that first number. And I just want to point out this number works out at about more than £10 per person. Now, people can buy the game internationally for £10, within the UK for £8. Most people aren't backing for a second copy, but there's a few people who are just backing for me to sing their name. So what's going on? Well, and there's even a few people who are like 9 people who are backing for a couple of quid to still get the game. And I started off with 5 copies of this, and then I've just put it up each time someone else pledges, and then pledges for someone else to get a copy. And there's been so many people. Like, there's almost like 50 really generous people are like, yeah, I want to support other people being able to get a copy. There's people who've said, you know what, I just want to give you extra money, Bez. And they've not paid for that. They've paid in the little slot that says extra support. There have been people who've, a couple have gotten a second copy, but some people are specifically, no, I don't want a second copy. I just want to give you extra money, which still kind of, I feel amazingly privileged. And I mean, this is not expected. I feel like just, wow, that I've kind of reached this point where I guess it's not just about this one game. And I want to acknowledge that someone couldn't expect to have a Kickstarter as bare bones as this and have it do as well as this one has done without any social proof. Let me quickly copy paste this into all the comments in case anyone isn't already aware of this Kickstarter, go and check this link. But I getting back to the point, if there's a box and it's £8.50 and there's a bag and it's £5, like I told people, yeah, you know what? A game about counting cats, shapes, and colours that keeps getting trickier. I'm going to raise the price to £7.50 after this convention because I feel like now it's done. It wasn't quite done at UK Games Expo, but now it's done with the addition of yellow, and you only count one thing at a time. And it's interesting because cat like myself really enjoyed the trickiness of sometimes counting two, whereas Jenna's like, oh, this is so much easier. I'm so happy that those were taken out. And I think that's the common thing. I want it to be an easy enough game. I don't want it to have that sudden spike in extra difficulty. And if those all come at once, then yeah, it was just confusing people. And the other thing with a game about quickly matching words to pictures, but never words to words or pictures to pictures, firstly, it's single-sided. That seems to work a lot better. I know, again, Kat slightly liked the previous version, but myself and Jane, we both enjoyed the new version a lot more. And there's just a few cards that can match so many things. Like there's stars and another object on the same card, and they've got like all three colors. So that can match like 5 out of the 5, 6, 7 out of the 7 possible words. And so it just kind of keeps the game going a bit faster. And with those particular cards, it adds a little bit of confusion, but it also adds speed. And yeah, even when I said people, oh, this is going to go up in price, people don't really mind because I don't think that £2.50 for most folk is, it's not going to encourage me to buy or not buy. And so my lesson here is don't assume people will buy more just because it's a little costs £5 rather than £8.50. That doesn't mean anything for most people. It doesn't mean that people would rather stuff balloons as a team without talking, but it's a card game, there are no actual balloons, rather than quickly grab creatures that are totally different and count their vegetables. And that was a really interesting lesson for me. Just different sales figures. Take a little bit less of the bags. That's my big lesson. One lesson. Second lesson, repeat that one thing. I'm getting to the point where, yes, I've been talking about my leaving do. If you're in the UK, please set aside October. I'm sure that there's actually a date. October 23rd, 2023. Let me skim forward very quickly. October 18th to 23rd. So I'm not expecting anyone to be there for the whole thing. It's basically 20th to 22nd is the main event, but Thursday might be like the pre-event for like a very small number of people. So if we've met, my hope is that like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, anyone who enjoys my games, anyone who likes Yogi or anything I make will come down, even if they've never been to a convention outside of Scotland or don't get to that many conventions, come down, it's my leaving do. And I'm almost thinking, okay, what are the 2 p.m. events to finish to the most epic things? One of them has to be, and the other thing here to note is that most people at Tabletop Scotland were not at UK Games Expo. And there's like one person that such a big fan and enjoyed the game so much and said, I'm really looking forward to seeing you next year. They don't go to any conventions outside of Scotland. And I won't see them until next year, probably. And that's the thing, like, they bought all my stuff and was like, I think they missed out on maybe 2 or 3 of the packs out of grabbing vegetables, but they bought basically like they bought like basically all the games. And I was like, wow. And I would love for them to come to KCON. But the other thing that I want, again, if people aren't going to all the conventions, it's okay for me to repeat these things. It's okay for me to say, you know what, this was a really, really blooming good 2 p.m. event. Let's do that again. And if I find another thing, once the L deck is back in stock, I am going to do until forever a 2 p.m. event for the L deck stuff. It'll be like a triathlon. You'll start off with Grabble, and then Wibble, and then no, maybe it should be Wibble and then Grabble. I'm not sure. Anyway, back in the day, I used to do Wibble and then Grabble and then Categorical, but I feel like there could be like a little bit more. And hello, how long have you been there?
5-10 minutes. 5 minutes.
Are you wanting to stay off camera?
Yeah.
Okay. And thank you, Josie. And yeah, that's basically it. I've been rambling for a while now, and I feel like I should probably wrap up. But yeah, if anyone else has any questions, and yeah, thank you for all the lovely comments. So I've talked about all the lovely bits. I can't think of any other lessons other than stock and 2 p.m. events, to repeat them sometimes. Don't know but one lesson is better than zero. And yes, Josie, that's his James voice.
Hi, Josie.
So at this point, I'll ask you question of the day. Question of the day. Here's a little question before we go on our way. Question of the day is: do you use placemats? Yeah, like when you're eating dinner, like at a table, do you use placemats? So yeah, let me know. I don't at my current place because I literally do not have placemats, and I'm okay with that. It's like, yeah, we'll eat dinner. Like if it was a really hot bowl, I would always put a really hot bowl onto like a little plate underneath so that it protects the table. But if someone spills, then I'll just give the table a wipe. It's all good. And typically, like, I'll let people know, like, there are some games that I would not have on the table with food, like Codex, or some games like I just would not be okay with that. But then the games are different. Some cost more, some cost less. Some games, by virtue of me having printed them, I've got some extra copies, so it's not as expensive. I only have to pay the printing cost rather than the actual full price. But Josie says, "Give Jane my love," and Josie says, "No, it's just another thing that clutters, and I'd only misplaced the placemats." Faranax says, "Yeah, I'd love to play your games. Thank you very much. And I think placemats are just another thing needing to be cleaned." I get what you mean. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to bother buying any placemats. And there's no one to clean. Okay. You just don't have the time. I get that. I totally do. So yeah, at this point, over to you. What are you up to? You can share bottomly if you want to. So is there something that you're looking forward to? Something that you need to do? Hope, ambition? Share anything about your future situation, but only if you want to. I am definitely going to be traveling to visit family. I'm apparently being taken out to a restaurant tonight, which I'm quite excited by. I'll shower either here or in my parents' place. I'm not sure which one. I feel like over, and maybe I can coerce someone into playing a game.
Maybe. We'll see.
And beyond that, just traveling, probably spending, I'm going to be honest, about half an hour. I feel like I'd like it to take less time, but it is probably going to take about an hour to do all the packing and everything. But that is what I am up to. Just basically having a chilled out day, seeing family, going to a restaurant together. I'm super excited about it. Some of this family I have not seen in person since 2019. Yeah. I'm trying to think if I saw any of them at the start of 2020. But no, there's at least 4 people who I've not seen since like pre-pandemic, and I'm about to see them. So that's super exciting. And so yeah. Josie says I'm hanging with Dermot before he goes back to uni on Thursday. Enjoy. Enjoy your together time. So to recap and wrap up before we finish up, I really enjoyed Tabletop Scotland, and was it useful on a emotionally uplifting level? Yeah, it was. I mean, but it's a weird thing because my I pour so much of myself into my games that it's kind of connected with the number of people demoing it. Do you know what I mean? And was it useful for me on a designer base level? Yeah, definitely. I got so much inspiration and feedback from watching people play. And was it useful from a financial perspective? Yeah, like I'm going to be honest, probably not. I mean, maybe next year. I say maybe next year I could have a smaller stand, but then it seems like a shame to do that when it's going to be my last tour in the UK. I definitely wouldn't go bigger. Like, it definitely wouldn't. Like, yeah, it was. I think that yeah, as I've been saying for a while, financially, I've got to accept that what's really going to earn me isn't foot tiptoeing around, selling a few copies here, selling a few copies there, selling a few copies a week on my online. Sure, that might earn me like 30, £40, like, but it's going to be when I actually arrange a meeting, and that's why next week I do actually need to take the time. So I've got it in my calendar on Thursday to reach out to all the publishers, and hopefully I will go to Essen. All I need to do is arrange meetings with publishers, um, get a room for Tuesday, and actually buy a ticket to the convention. It's not as if they sell out. So, I mean, they basically have infinite tickets. But yeah, it would be nice if I were able to somehow wrangle a trade ticket, but I'll be there. You know, maybe it'll be fun having the full experience of having to crowd round. No, it won't be fun, but it'll be an experience either way, and I'll have fun being there, and I'm looking forward to it. But that's all in the future week. Today, to recap and wrap up, let's go back to my first thing. Um, Highlights all the friendly people doing sales and demos, Jane and Kat, Sunday 2 p.m. event, best ever 2 p.m. event, the customer deck, so beautiful to look at, sharing chocolates, just things that bring people together. Saturday 2 p.m. event, not as good, but still lots of fun. Yogi, seeing people enthusiastic, and the Saturday night quiz. Yeah, lots of fun to do. So for now, the only thing left to do is to remind you I am Stuffed by Bez everywhere. Check out my streams, share, spread the word. Thank you very much, everyone. And I'm going to give a special thanks not only to the people watching, not only to the giggling person in the background, and not only, Jane and Kat, and also everyone who helps make Tabletop Scotland happen, and like Dave and everyone. If you were there, if you came over to say hello, if you gave me a quick elbow bump and like did the full elbow dance, thank you. And thank you for helping make it happen. Lots of love. And I guess bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song to do. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye bye, everyone.